to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sonia, and I would love it if you could subscribe, and if you're not already an existing subscriber, welcome back. Today's video is going to be my update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. So this is a project created by Alexi. I'll make sure to leave her channel below, and this is where you try to hit pan or have a usage goal on your eyeshadows. So that could be individual eyeshadows in a palette. I think it is pretty open now actually to how you want this project to work. So for me, what I do is I will roll a eyeshadow and then I will then make the decision whether I want to keep it into hit pan or I will use it 20 times or hit pan, if that makes sense. So hit pan before the 20 uses. I can roll out one eyeshadow this month and I'm very surprised actually. I didn't actually think I was going to have pan in any of the eyeshadows this month, but I'm excited to be able to roll in a new eyeshadow. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the eyeshadow I'm going to be rolling out, then we'll talk about the eyeshadows I'm still working on, and then at the end we'll roll a new eyeshadow in. So the eyeshadow that I can roll out this month comes from my ABH Jackiana palette, and I was working on the shade Sponsored. So what I will do on the screen is I'll put a picture, I don't know if it's this side or this side, I'll put a picture of what it looked like last update and then I'll put a picture of what it looks like this update. But I just wasn't expecting pan in this one. My goal for this was 20 uses or hit pan, and I used it a further 3 times and I managed to get pan. Now, what I do for this is I don't count the amount of times I dip in, I just count the amount of days. So I only used it 3 days, but I could have dipped at least 4 or 5 times into this eyeshadow that day. I don't know whether going forward, next year if maybe I decide to do this project, that I will count the amount of dips rather than the amount of days, because I feel like it's more accurate of how many times it took to hit pan. So overall, I only used it 8 times and I managed to get pan. So there is the pan. It was such a beautiful shade. It really, really is. I have thoroughly enjoyed using this, and just this overall palette I just think is so beautiful. It was completely out of my comfort zone when I bought this back in January, but I feel like I could use all of these shades now and really enjoy my look. I'm kind of sad that this has pan now, but I'm also really excited to roll something new in. But I love this palette. I'm so glad I picked it up. So glad, because I've watched this from afar for so long and I got this on a pretty good deal as well, so that's always good. So that is the eyeshadow I'm going to be rolling out this month. Now let's talk about the eyeshadows I'm still working on. So the first one comes from my W7 Total Eclipse palette. So again, what I will do on the screen for each of the eyeshadows is I'll put a picture of what it looked like last update and then a picture of what it looks like this update. So I've used this one 4 times. Last update I really didn't use a lot of these eyeshadows, so I tried to make more of an effort at least with some of them, because I am panning other palettes and other projects, so I tried to get a few more uses out of these eyeshadows this month. So this is what this is looking like now. I find this shade so easy to wear. I am definitely more of a pink and neutral type of girl, so when I rolled this in I knew that I was going to be keeping this into hit pan. I'm not sure how long this is going to take me. I do think I am getting a bit of a dip now. I'm not sure if you can see that, so maybe another couple of updates and I may have pan in this one. I really love this eyeshadow. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. So my next eyeshadow is from the Huda Beauty Nude Rich palette, and I'm working on shade number 8, which is this one here, and I've used this one 2 times. I do think that this is going to be a shade I will definitely reach for more in the coming months, because I gravitate towards shades like this when it gets more to autumn and winter, and it's such a beautiful shade, isn't it? And I would be able to use this with this as well. I definitely see myself using it a few more times, but I'm still really happy with 2, even though I did keep this into hit pan. I do see a bit of wear now on this, but I wouldn't really say it's a dip or anything, so I do think that this one might be in at the finale in December. The next one is from my MAC Made My Fortune palette. absolutely, I say this every time, but honestly this is such beautiful packaging. The shade I'm working on this is number 6. Now this palette and this palette don't have shade names as far as I'm aware. Oh, actually I think this one does. I've called it number 6, but I think it's Purpotuous Poppy, I think. This is the shade here. So again, I've used this one 2 times, and I just use this shade and this shade in my crease, and I think it looks lovely. I do like this. Again, this is definitely going to be more of a shade I'll wear more in autumn and winter. But I do just want to use this one 20 times or hit pan. I definitely think it'll be 20 uses on this one, because I have had a MAC palette before and I used it so much and it barely looked like it had any use. So I mean, I can see a bit of use on this one, but again, definitely no dip, just a little bit of wear. I do think I'll get my 20 uses on this. I have 18 to go. I do think I will get my 20 uses. I think it just might be quite close to the finale, but I have enjoyed using that one. I know I haven't used it a lot, but the times I have used it, I have enjoyed it. And last but no means least is an eyeshadow I rolled in last month, and it is from my Revolution Forever Dynamic Allure palette. And the shade I got in this one is number 4, which is this one here, and I think you can see the dip there. I've used this one 4 times as well, so every time I've worn this, I've worn the W7 palette. I can start to see a dip in this one. So potentially next update or the update after that. Yeah, I definitely think maybe the update after that I may have pan in this one, because again, my goal is to get pan in this. For me, this colour is, again, a go-to for me. So I'm not saying this would be easy to pan, but it's a shade that I can use a lot because it's my go-to. So yeah, I'm happy that I've managed to get a few more uses than last month. I'm at least using other palettes in my collection, because I did try to do a pan that palette this year and just soon realised that I just feel like, for me, I want to work through my entire collection rather than focusing on one palette. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next year. I think I'll just make the decision closer to the time, really, especially with my pan those eyeshadows. I do know some of the projects that I'm going to be participating in next year, but I'm not quite sure when it comes to my eyeshadow project what I'm going to do. Whether I'm going to do a pan those eyeshadows or no pan left behind, or I don't think I'm going to do a pan that palette, but yeah, I feel like I'll make that decision when it comes to it. So now we're at the point where I can roll in a new eyeshadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get random number generator up. I will roll a number. I'll pick the eyeshadow palette out, and then I will randomly roll again for the eyeshadow in the palette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my tablet, and then we will roll for the eyeshadow. Okay, I'm sorry if I've potentially moved. I just had to charge my tablet a little bit because I didn't realise, but it had run out of battery. So what I'm going to do is I've got my random number generator up here, and I'm going to do between 1 and 86, because that is the amount of eyeshadows I have in my collection. I count eyeshadow palettes and individual eyeshadows as well. They are all eligible for this project. So I just need to roll one number. Hopefully you can see this without it blinding you. So we have number 20. Ooh, okay, I'm going to go and get that eyeshadow palette now, and I will come back and we will roll an eyeshadow from that palette. Okay, so the eyeshadow I'm going to be working on for my pan those eyeshadows is this one from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the eyeshadow palette in Copper Charge. What it looks like inside. Absolutely beautiful. Neutrals right up my street. I have 3 shimmers and a matte, and I can use all of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do between 1 and 4, and I'm going to be working on number 1, which is this one here. I'm definitely going to keep this in to hit pan, because this is a colour I can wear pretty much nearly with every look. I'm really happy to be bringing this one in, and I'm happy to be bringing in a Charlotte Tilbury palette, because I do really enjoy these palettes. This is the only palette I do have, so I'm looking forward to trying to get pan on this one. So what I will do on the screen is I'll put a picture of my colour story so you can see what I'm now working with. I'm really happy with my colour story. I feel like a lot of the shades all work well together. I feel like this shade is going to look really beautiful with that MAC Made My Fortune eyeshadow that I've got in this project as well, so I'm really looking forward to doing a look with that. So that is my Pan Those Eyeshadows update. I feel like it was a little bit all over the place. I'm really sorry, but again, as I mentioned previously, I'm just not feeling that great at the moment, so just bear with me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and it means the absolute world to me if you could subscribe if you don't already. And until my next video, thank you for coming by. See you later.